Welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson. Uh, kind of a recap on what went over this over the past week and over basically Sunday. But I'm not going to do a recap. I'm going to jump right into something that I told you guys almost about 8 months ago. 8 months ago, I made a show. It was called, Don't Give Jimmy G a Gold Jacket Just Yet. At the 14-minute mark, after I sit up there and spewed out about all the different stats and whatnot, what he's done in 6 or 7 games, or what it's going to be, and all this kind of stuff like that, one of the main things that I said in that particular piece that ended up getting a lot of play, I said, in the 14-minute mark, I said, and I said, I want to see him make it through 16 games. 16. Before we talk about all this other mess of crowning him, he's the second coming of Joe Montana, this, that, and the other, and all this other kind of stuff that was being said and being talked about, all of that. All of that stuff being said, you look up and Jimmy Garoppolo blows his ACL. He blows his ACL and he is done for the season. Like I said, and I continue to say it, I said, make it through the season. I want to see him play 16 games, not 7 games in 2 seasons. So Garoppolo has basically played 10 games in 2 or 3 seasons, so to speak, because he did the mop-up duty because he got hurt in 16 because he was supposed to do the 4 games when Brady got hit for the Deflategate stuff. He played 2, got hurt. 17 gets traded midway, 7, 8 games left of the season, goes 5, whatever it was, 5-0, like 5, 6 or 7 weeks, goes 5-0, along with the 2 that he got, 2 W's that he got in 2016. Now he played 3 games, basically with 1 and 2, 718 yards passing, 5 touchdowns and 3 picks. Right? That's what they've gotten for 5 years. $137.5 million, $90 million guaranteed. That's $27.5 million a year. Now, it's not about gloating, but I'd love to be right. I'm not going to lie about that. It's nothing like being right. And like I said, so I got a lot of play out of it when I made this because it was just me because I'm like, that's what I said even to you guys last week, talking about how the media brings you up only this, in a lot of cases to basically to tear you down. And the only thing I was simply saying was the fact that, look here, and I got a bunch of play from a bunch of 49er fans. And I was just simply saying, I say, dude, can I say, stop y'all giving this guy a crown already. And they were dissing Colin Kaepernick, who, if you compared his 7 games, which was all in a year, right? Which was all in a year, 7 games, onto somebody that played 7 games in 2 seasons, right? And there's no comparison. I've already done the stats. You can go back and look it up. And I was explaining that to the guys. I'm like, he's not John Brody yet. He's not Montana, obviously. He's not Steve Young. He's not even Jeff Garcia as of yet. Does he have skills to kill like he can play? Of course. But he goes 1 and 2. Thus far the season, right? Now, like I said, he's out for the whole year. ACLs, he's a quarterback. He could probably bounce back sometime next year. We'll see. But for him to really be feeling the way he feels, probably going to take maybe 2 years. But being that a quarterback and you can't touch him, he should be okay. I told you guys this. I told you this. Can he at least, before you crown him, can he at least make it through 16 games? Show me that. Because my expectations for him was like simple. I said, y'all have to go, the team, y'all have to go 12-4 and have to make it to the NFC Championship game. That's all I want to see. That's all I said. He has to bring them to that in order to sit up there and say that, oh, well, Kaepernick, he didn't do that, but Kaepernick went to 2 NFC championships. He went to a Super Bowl and he went to 2 NFC Championship games. Lost both of them, but nonetheless, he went there. Okay? So, like I said, Jimmy G has not done that, and he is not doing that this year. Now, you can rally behind the quarterback, Beathard. I think that's Bobby Beathard's grandson or something to that effect. That's playing quarterback and stuff. That's behind him and everything. And rally behind him, and who knows? They might make it run. You never know. Who knows? You know, it might gonna be the same thing like Fitzpatrick and Fitzmagic and all that kind of stuff with Beathard. We'll see what happens. But I explained this and I told you guys that. And that's what I'm saying. This hype machine that they do for these players. And they take these expectations and put them up and magnify them and blow them completely up. And my thing is the whole oppressors. And they put a lot of stuff on Jimmy Garoppolo. The funny thing about a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, because it prior to him basically being drafted, you know, how many guys really truly sit up there and say they heard of Jimmy Garoppolo? Just like the same thing with Carson Wentz. But, you know, neither here nor there. The question is that so all of the stuff that they hyped him up for, hyped him up to be and everything like that, only for it to be basically torn down. The funny part about it, you have Patrick Mahomes who's thrown, I think, 13 touchdowns in 3 weeks. He broke Peyton Manning's record and all this other kind of stuff, right? Mahomes comes out of Texas Tech. Texas kid, he's Texas kid, went to White House, goes to Texas Tech, played for that. They could score, couldn't stop nobody, which is why, you know, that's the theme of Texas football right now in college anyway. But of not stopping, you know, of can score and stuff like that, but nobody played defense. Hopefully that's getting ready to change. And he does all of these things. Sits behind Alex Smith, does nothing for the most part. Got a little mop-up duty here and there and learn. Now he's ripping it up. It's funny. It's not a lot of hype around him, like the hype that was basically around Jimmy G. Now, mind you, Mahomes, say Mahomes finished up, say he plays the full 16 games, right? He would have played 16 games. He's going to play because he had a little mop-up duty, I believe, last year. But just, I'm not going to count that. Say he plays 16 games, right? Which means that if he plays 16 games, that is 6 more games more than Jimmy Garoppolo, who came into the league in 2014. Okay? 2014. Mahomes was a rookie 2017. Okay? And that's what I'm talking about right there. It's little things like that. So that means that he would have been in the league 3 years later, and he's still going to have played more football than Jimmy Garoppolo. But Garoppolo's been in the league 3 years more than he has been in. And again, like I said, technically, if you think about it, like I said, if you think about it, Jimmy G's basically starting to just play last year or whatever. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. But already, if Mahomes, I'm just saying something that even happened to him as well. But I'm just saying to see how this thing works. This is a marathon. You play, you take one game day by day, game by game. That's basically what you have to do. So, like I said, so Mahomes, if he finishes out this season, just look at how this is. If he finished out this season, he would have played more games than Garoppolo. He keeps up at the pace that he's on. He's going to shatter anything Garoppolo has done. Okay. Garoppolo was already put on the 90th as one of the top 100 players. And he was the 90th in the 5 games that he played. You see how this thing works? And so we're going to see what happens with this situation. But this is what I'm talking about. And that was to them 49er fans that was getting at me. I say, now what you got to say about this now? Now you need to rally behind Beathard to see what you're going to do. But I told you guys, make it through. You'll see the comments and me going back and forth. When you go take a look at that stuff, you'll see what some of the comments, some of the things I got. And I'm giving them nothing but facts. I'm dealing with numbers. I'm not dealing with a bunch of hard-headed fans who want to sit up there and give their team pats on the back when their team ain't doing nothing. Because I'm about to do the next piece on my team here after I get done with this one and show you how I feel about that situation. And like I said, I like to see good football played. But at the same time, I was explaining this to those San Francisco 49er fans. I said, all I want to see him make 16 games. Let me see him get through 16 games. Because there's something about him having the 4 games that was going to really showcase his talent. And he won 2 games. And about the 3rd game, I guess he got hurt. And that, of course, like I said, so he was hurt. And that's when Jacoby Brissett came in and did some mop-up duty and went, I think, 1-1 before Brady came back. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing that I like to talk about and whatnot. And like I said, I'm dealing with facts. Nothing but pure facts when we talking about this. So you 49ers fans, get back at me about that. You know, when you see what your little comments and say, like I said, make it through 16 games. That's what I want to see him do first. I don't hear anything about all that other stuff, his supposedly good looks and this, that, and the other, and that big-ass contract that he got. And he has literally got that money based upon what he did in 5 games for that of the 49ers in the 2017 season. Which, by the way, if you take that and compare that to what, like I said, Colin Kaepernick did, well, he should have got that same kind of money too. But that's another story. So for what they paid him, they got 718 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a 1-2 record. That's what they got, and he's done for the year. Now we're going to see what's going to happen with the 49ers now and all of this kind of stuff. So it's going to be a real interesting thing to sit up there and see. But like I said, you 49er fans, get at me. Say what you say. I'm not wishing guns. Like I said, I think the kid's going to be a hell of a quarterback. I'm just saying that hype machine, get up off of it. And a lot of these people that's been watching football for years and years and years, you shouldn't even buy into all of this stuff. Let him do something first. Hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't done anything. That's my point. I was like, make it through 16 games and come holler at me. He couldn't even do that. So he couldn't go 12-4. So he still, even when he comes back next year, for me, you got to go 12-4, homeboy. You got to go 12-4. Even if you don't give you a 9-7, whatever the case may be. You have to at least make it to the NFC Championship game. You got to at least do that. You have to do that. But first and foremost, you got to do something the other game. Colin Kaepernick already played 16 games before. Jimmy Garoppolo has not. So did guys like Jeff Garcia, so did guys like Steve Young, so did guys like Joe Montana, and so did guys like John Brody. That's my point. He hasn't even done that yet, and they was crowning him. So, you know, we'll get back to this and stuff like that. I'm going to come back here in a few minutes and whatnot, but that's what I'm telling you. And like I said, in the Global Edition, I told y'all. Just remember, you heard it here first. Last year, December, the last week of the season, 2017 season, I told y'all, make it through 16, and he didn't. He make it through 16 in the 2018 season, and he didn't. Like I said, check it. Go to Jimmy G in the gold jacket. 14-minute mark, and you hear me preach the gospel, partner. I'll be back in a minute.